Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody, and welcome to another Beyond Politics discussion.
Hi, welcome to all of you. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Andres, for gifting everyone memberships. Those who
Everyone.
everyone, everyone gets a membership. The 5 people that just got memberships, I just want to say welcome, congratulations, and please go make use of the perks. And
Yes,
thank you, Andres.
normally it's for Exit the Rabbit Hole. There's 3 presentations there. You go and watch Exit the Rabbit Hole, Exit the Money Trap, and Exiting the Techno Trap. And that kind of ties in with our theme for today.
It does.
And one of the themes will tie into what we'll be talking about today is so many people out there that need help, need assistance, the frail, the elderly, children that can't just look after themselves, people that have fallen on bad times, etc. And these are things that most people don't want to talk about. It's things that you just want to look away from, right?
Because it could happen to anybody.
Yeah. And then you want to look away.
Mm.
Say, no, it hasn't happened to me until it does, right? So, yeah, I hope that you share this with people, that you like this stream so that we can get more people to watch it. Please use the YouTube algorithms by liking the stream so that more people can see it, and share and comment. All of these things help. So welcome to all of you. Thanks for commenting. We almost have 50 people watching now. And later tonight at 8 o'clock, in fact, we will be starting our members interactive meeting. That'll be on Zoom. So you'll get the Zoom link about 5 minutes before 8. And then we will start our interactive meeting that we do on the last Wednesday.
It's so much
of every
fun
month.
because that's where we be quiet and listen to you guys, because the whole point is that it's interactive. You interact with each other, and it's really awesome to get everyone's input and insights.
So then people are on camera, they have mics, they can speak, which is very different to this platform, but we hope you enjoy this with us. And the topic for today, I don't know, those of you that have seen the thumbnail, it's about humans and machines. And, what space will there be for you? And if you think of the government that is being formed right now, what side will they be on?
It's obvious. The fourth industrial revolution's side, Klaus Schwab's side, the side against our individual liberty. It's clearer than daylight. And unfortunately, most people are so excited. They're pretty much peeing themselves over the fact that the 2 biggest parties, they're not actually the biggest parties. The 2 parties that happen to get most of the votes out of 58% voter turnout are working together in inverted commas.
58% voter turnout out of registered voters, not eligible voters. If you actually see how many eligible voters the so-called government of national unity represents, it's probably around 30% of the people. And this is a topic I want to bring in, that most of the people, especially in rural areas, that have decided that they're not interested in this democratic process of voting, not even interested in our governance system at this stage, people that have lost faith in it, people that are poor, impoverished in the current financial system, feel that the system doesn't offer them anything. And therefore, they have decided to stay away. The people that voted in large for the MK party and the economic freedom fighters fall in that same category. People that want financial improvement, and whether you agree with their means of trying to do that or not is irrelevant. The bulk of people in the country, the majority of people, have been cut out of the government of national unity completely. They are not represented there. So who is represented when you look at the fourth industrial revolution and the Agenda 2030 lot? Who do they represent?
I'm scared to say it, but the ignorant, privileged middle class, for lack of a better phrase. The people that want to perpetuate the system because they're just getting by. Not the wealthy who can fly here, there, and everywhere to escape disaster. Not the completely
The wealthy don't
impoverished.
vote, do they? They don't even. They don't care about voting.
It's the in-between lot that are 2-3 salaries away from financial collapse that need the system to continue. It's always been the biggest obstacle to our progress, ironically, as well. And it's the very same entity that keeps the status quo going.
And those are the people that voted the 40%, well, if that's to be believed, for the ANC, the 20% for the DA. And they believe that that is the largest voter bloc. But it's not. You see, it's lies. The mainstream media tell you lies, because I can prove it to you with evidence that the majority of people in the country do not represent those that voted. So if we have to believe that only 58% of registered voters turned out, we only had about 40% of eligible voters represented, or even less. It'll be in the 30s, which makes it a shocking representation of the people in the country. And what does this mean? This government of national unity is built on eggshells, literally, because they are a welfare state. I mean, the whole point of the fourth industrial revolution is to now even take these people that have been fooled into voting for the ANC and the DA, and even remove them out of the economical ecosystem, because they're next.
Graham puts the numbers out there for us. 41 million eligible voters, 27 million registered, 16 million voted. So it's actually 16 out of 41.
Out of 41 million.
Is the actual...
Yeah, if you can go and do the maths for us there. I don't have a calculator on me, but yeah, it's around 40%. Okay. So yeah, those are bad numbers. I mean, it's way below the 2019 elections, where I think it was 49 point something percent. It's the first time we dropped under 50% of eligible voters voting.
It's shocking. It's frightening.
Okay, Lauren's actually going to do the calculation.
Because I have to see what percentage do not believe in the government. Because the fact that there's a large percentage that doesn't believe in the government is great news for OM. 39%.
Yeah.
Voter turnout.
Yeah,
wow.
around.
We had a 39. Okay, so attention, all South Africans. The media and the IEC and the government's misleading when they announce the voter turnout, because they're only calculating registered voters. The actual voter turnout is 39%. 39% of people felt it important enough to try and vote.
So now work out 40% of that 39%. That is literally what the ANC got. And the DA got 20% of that 39%.
That's even worse.
Yeah, far worse. So this government of national unity cannot represent the majority of people. And if you look at what's happening in Kenya, I referred to that this morning in my video, you will see how people can rise up. New young people that are organized on social media, that all of a sudden have all these taxes put on them. That's a shock to them, and they don't know where this is coming from, and they decide, no, we're not going to allow that. And as I've told people before, that the people are the government at the end of the day, even if it's not legislated.
I have not been reading the news. I'm going to return to OM work next week, people. Up until this point, I've been busy with other things.
Yeah.
Not OM related.
More important things, in my
Omega
opinion.
and family, etc. So I haven't been reading the news, but my heart's almost stopping because I predicted this because of what Albie Sachs said at the IEC meeting. Albie Sachs is the villainous grandfather of the Constitution. And Phil is saying Zilla also said she wants to exclude small parties from parliament with a percentage.
Yes, correct. So we said that that's the next thing that will happen.
So you have to get 2% of the vote, hypothetically. That's what I'm thinking.
Or 5. I mean, they might even make it 5.
They might even make it 5, which would exclude a lot of parties.
Yeah, so they'll actually make it impossible for new parties to enter unless they are funded by the Oppenheimers or whoever else. That's the plan. So that's why I said, I think 2 days ago, I said, I'm not sure that the current system, that it's still possible to actually enter that system
no.
on a national level.
There are a couple of things still. One can
there's many things that the person can do, but maybe not through elections. There's other ways and means. I don't know what you have in
even
mind.
Through elections. We do have some plans, which I won't discuss yet.
Okay.
Hi, Ntokozo, and thank you for becoming a member, and I hope you enjoy all the perks. And then Sharon, welcome again. Thank you for rejoining.
Thanks to the over 100 people that are watching.
2 people shared what they had for supper. Chicken and potato salad from a hot Portugal. Sounds amazing. And then Black Swan, I think it was Black Swan that said she had bobotie. Well done on that delicious supper. I've never made bobotie in my life, but I love bobotie.
I'm glad, Black Swan, you're becoming self-sufficient at home. Self-reliance will be a huge topic for us, and this is one of the basic solutions. If we tie into the discussion of so many people that have been cut out of governance. Okay, if just the middle class are being governed and their interests, what happens to the rest? Well, there's a lot of people that have been surviving outside of the fiat currency financial system for a long time.
Out of necessity,
Out
not
of
choice.
necessity,
Yeah.
not choice. So those people will be fine. Okay, you don't have to worry about them, and there's millions of them in this country that literally live off the land day to day, from hand to mouth. And people used to live like that for forever before the industrial revolution started. That's how people live. So this is not an unusual thing. You don't need money to survive. You need 5 things: water, food, shelter, energy, and something to keep you sane or make you feel loved, so you don't lose your morals.
And it's illegal to access that without engaging in corporate or governmental transactions.
Yes, currently, the way things work. And now there's talk of increasing electricity prices ridiculously. Many of these cities that they want to turn into smart cities, the water and electricity prices are being skyrocketed, especially in the city of Cape Town. They never reduced the prices after the so-called water shortage, when they were pummeling water into the sea. So people are being rooked dry. I mean, people are being emptied out. And it's interesting, after I did the podcast with Jeremy Null on germ warfare, some people made comments about me saying that by 2024 the country will run out of water. Now, I never mentioned any dates. I never said the country would run out of water. In fact, I've said that we are not a water scarce country, that we have so much water running into the sea that we've never been water scarce. It's something that the politicians promote. I said that the water infrastructure will not be maintained and will fall apart. And I didn't mention a date. It just happens to be that this year it culminates in water infrastructure breaking everywhere. And many people have been suffering from this for a long time. It's a deliberate plan. And now they are going to be forced to do something about it. And it's too little, too late. And why do I say it's too late? Because now you are making people go without water for days and weeks. And what does this do to the general populace out there?
Well, civility crumbles without
It starts
water.
to crumble without water and energy. So those first 2 things are vital: water supply and energy. Whether energy comes from heat in any kind of form, or electricity, it's a form of energy. So electricity supply is super important for stability. Water supply is super important for stability. What does this GNU want? They want people to depend on them for all 5 things.
And be rationed.
Correct.
Because of climate change.
Yes. So there are new parties coming into the fore that ran in the elections that want people to become self-reliant. And
Beautiful.
you've met some of them.
So Chris is saying, if Zille gets that push, the 2% or a percentage vote in order to get a seat, which will rule out even parties currently in parliament, then we will never get new parties, maybe just split off parties like COPE, MK. Not actually true, Chris. I have so much hope still for the future. And that is because when the signature requirement came out, I set in motion a couple of things that if I expand upon and succeed with, we can overcome that 2% chop.
So people, the work needs to intensify. We can't slack off. We need to work more, work harder. Thanks for upgrading your membership. It's really awesome. I hope to see many of you in the interactive tonight at 8 o'clock. It's going to be an important discussion. There's a lot to talk about, but I'm sure you have a lot to talk about. So I look forward to listening
AJ
to
says, yeah, my aunt in Glencoe on northern KZN is without water almost every day.
Yeah.
And Takoz is asking, is tap water even good for drinking? I'm thinking of getting water purifiers.
It's difficult to say, because in your area it might be different in different areas. All I can tell you is, do have water stored that you know is good for drinking. So if you know that you have tap water that's good for drinking, store it in water bottles in a dark, cool place if you can, even underneath a bed, so that you know you have enough drinking water available. It doesn't have to cost a lot of money. And people that say that you need to spend a fortune on self-reliance is utter nonsense. It's not true. You just need to start. And there's many groups. I mean, the group that Owen created on Facebook,
Independent living,
Independent
saying
Living.
goodbye to government corporate
Well,
control.
we can give a link
It's
to
the
that
biggest,
group.
it's the longest name in history. Independent living.
Yes, it is
Like
very
those are
long.
long words, saying
Yeah.
goodbye to government and corporate control.
But we can give you the link to that.
Indeed, we can. So on that group, you're supposed to go there, ask questions if you don't know how to get started, and also share your success stories and also your challenges in becoming as independent from government and corporate control as possible. It's very difficult. I think you can't be free in this current system. That's what I identified a long time ago. You can't escape the financial system. You're either a victim to it or you conquer it. There's no in-betweens. And so to completely live as independent as possible, it means not having debt, having access to land that you can call your own, which is probably the biggest challenge for most people, and then making sure your 5 needs are seen to without relying on a corporation or government. It's a journey, and people are getting there to different degrees, and we want to help each other. The group is almost 6,000 members.
Yeah, 5,900 members on that group. And people share their own experiences there. So go and have a look and see what people do. Real life stories. It's really amazing. I believe there's people there from around the world, right? So that is the crux. So on the ground, while people are focused on politics, this is happening in the background. People are actually becoming self-reliant.
So a lot of people
And this is the crux.
will ask us, what should we do with our money? Should we spend it on gold or silver or crypto? And I believe personally, if you have money to spare, it should go towards what's going to help you be as independent from government and corporate control as possible. And then you can deconstruct what each of that means. We also doing Omega training this weekend. The Omegans, I still have to communicate with, but I did put the notification out a long time ago. The admin is suffering here, people.
I think we're going to go all the way to level 5.
I'm going to fire myself.
You're going to fire yourself, okay.
So we are going to try to do 3 modules in one weekend. So look out for that. I'll send an email tomorrow to everybody, or maybe tonight if I'm not too tired.
If you can't attend the live session, then you'll be able to watch the recording.
And the idea.
So don't fear.
This is
when Lauren is near.
This is thinking out loud. We want to offer the module 1 to 5 again now before next year to the next group as soon as possible.
As soon as possible.
Because you guys can all get started. You can do the homework and the assignments in your own time, but let's get the ball rolling. Here.
And then the orientation.
We're going to worry about later.
Yes.
Yes.
Because that is super important for 6 to 10, module 6 to 10.
Sure, Audrey. Barberton is without water daily. My best investment was my borehole. I supplied 3 households with water now.
Awesome.
We swap food that we've grown and share what we have excess of.
Yeah, it can't be taxed. Government can't control it, and I hate that fact, by the way, Audrey. They don't like the fact that they can't control certain things. So government do want to supply people with water, electricity, and everything else because they've become a business. They actually make money out of people, and that's why they are growing their business. And this is something that people need to understand. So there's no place for the so-called poor, and I use that word very carefully, among us, because people that are considered poor might feel like they are very, very rich. Someone living on the street might feel richer than us because they don't have our worries and many other things. So it's far more complicated. But someone that is considered by government to be poor, that need handouts, etc., to make them reliant on that government, I mean, those people are not considered right now in the plans for the future because the plans do not come from our government. Where does it come from?
Global institutions.
Yeah. And the United Nations is one of those institutions. And if you haven't studied...
So this is how it works. People who get involved in politics are usually void of all creativity. So they find themselves in position of power with no ideas. And here comes the global institutions, lots of ideas. It's a perfect marriage.
Yeah.
So these idealists and uncreative politicians just hijack these ideas and they think they're so smart and they promote these ideas and then people vote for them.
In fact, the parties don't want people with ideas. That's one thing I noticed. When you came with ideas in the official opposition back in the day, they were not interested in ideas.
One can argue that maybe my ideas were good. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt there.
Well, those ideas are being tested right now.
Correct.
So, the future will tell. At the end of the day, the majority of people in the country, not in the world, in the country and in many other countries, are not looked after by this global plan. So what do you think is going to happen to these people? What do you think is going to happen to these people? I mean, they're a burden, right? They're a huge burden.
I don't know. I mean, I don't even know what I'm allowed to say on YouTube without being censored. So there's limiting conversation. I think the censorship's going to get worse too, by the way, which I'm worried about. So we might.
But you've already started with something.
Word things interestingly going forward. But anyway, I think everyone, I think knows the Georgia Guidestone thing
that got blown up.
Then we know what happened with the lockdown, and one can only put 2 and 2 together.
There's a number on those guidestones that my dad confirmed independently, and some of the documents he has. So I just keep that in the back of my mind.
But still, how that practically gets rolled out, I don't know.
No, we can't. I hope it doesn't.
And then on the other hand, everyone's just trying to survive in this tough economic climate. So
and the very middle class that's supporting their own demise, funding their own demise, voting for their own demise. I mean, when these things happen to them, it's going to be a shock, especially when they realize that a machine has been chosen over them. Because that's going to happen more and more.
But when we were discussing the thumbnail and everything, what strikes me so much and what saddens me so much is that we, not us individually, but we, the people, collectively, all 39% of us, voted for what is going to bring all of this to pass. The fourth industrial revolution, smart cities, constant surveillance.
And none of these things were mentioned in the election manifestos, right? But that's what's going to be done. So people are dumb and they deserve the government they get. And you will deserve everything that comes your way because of how you voted. And at the end of the day, we are responsible for the amount of work we put in, the effort we put in. And selling what we are trying to sell people, that you actually have to put in effort, that you actually have to work at it. A lot of people don't want that.
Yeah, I say that in every meeting whether I'm speaking to new people. I'm actually stupid. I shouldn't. Because I think that's why we don't get signups on the spot, because I'm saying I need you to work for the plan to work.
For yourself
and
first.
I think what people want to hear is vote for me and I'll do everything for you.
Yeah, but that's not
how it works.
No, not with
AJ says in Pretoria we got fined for having a borehole, on a small holding, and got a huge water bill because we did not use municipal water. And keep in mind, with the surveillance happening in Cape Town right now, with the plane, with the constant policing, with the psychopaths in power, and people trying to become self-reliant, I definitely predict there's going to have to be a major Mexit coming up in order to survive this fourth industrial revolution takeover of metropolitans. I remember being part of the National Development Plan Public Participation Roadshow, where they said their goal is to have 70% of people living in metros. 70%.
Move everyone from the rural areas.
Everyone should hypothetically be in a smart city where you have your Google account, which your CAPITEC is, or your banking app is connected to, how you communicate, and your phone is recorded, and Uber is connected, and Mr. Delivery is connected. It's all connected. Your every move
is
monitored.
The Internet of Things.
The Internet of Things.
Yeah.
How much electricity you use every time you open your fridge, every time you switch on your TV. I mean, everything will be monitored. Just now, they're going to make homeschooling illegal, and we're going to have to send our children to government-sponsored concentration camps, otherwise known as the school system. That's the ideal, because humans are a problem, and those in power, what do they want to do? They want to solve the problem. How do they solve the human problem? By controlling
the humans.
How do they control humans? Through behavioral change. How do they achieve that? Through maneuvering our external factors.
And media is used as a very strong tool. How often do you see the media talking about the people outside of this voting class? You don't see them talking to them or about them. It's like they don't exist.
Blissfully living.
The people just turning the blind eye. But now in Kenya, all of a sudden, Parliament's on fire. and the oaks in Parliament are worried.
Isn't it terrible what's happening in Kenya? It's awful. It's a travesty. I hope that never happens in South Africa. It would be horrible if that happened in South Africa.
So this is what people do when they're unhappy with what the government is doing, and no government, no military, no police can stop it because they're not powerful enough. In no country in the world.
It's such a shame what happened to the police in Kenya. Hey, it's so sad.
So instability is not a good thing. I want to avoid instability at all costs. The people do what they want to at the end of the day, and nobody's going to stop them. Government is a contract with the people, okay? Now, when a GNU, a government of so-called government of national unity, has a contract with 39% of the, not even 39% of the people, because they only have a small fraction of the people, okay?
Maybe 30.
Yes. No, not even.
Cool.
So, yes, say 30% of the people. That is abysmal. No, it has to be less because just the EFF and MK makes up 24%.
Okay, cool.
So there's no ways that they even have 30%. What are you
Sorry,
doing?
I'm making a song.
You're making a song. Lawrence, what did you drink or eat, or did you take any pills?
Why would I?
I know you don't drink pills.
I don't take drugs.
No, you don't. You're on steroids or something. So people are going to be disenfranchised, and I believe this is deliberately done. I mean, you cannot be that dumb, thick, and stupid to think that all these millions of people are just going to sit back and let you destroy what they want in future. Whether you agree with that or what they want or not is irrelevant. They will annihilate you. They will burn the country to the freaking ground before they will allow that government to do what they want. That government is for a small group of people only. And the sooner people realize that, the better. You know, when I was in intelligence, you look at the probability of something happening. And if you look at probabilistic risk analysis, you need to have at least 3 sources of information to verify something, to say that this is really probable. Now, when you look at the world history, there's only one scenario. Either they change this GNU, this Wildebeest, whatever you want to call it, okay? Either you change that or the country will burn. You have those 2 things. So what I've said clearly is that they clearly want the instability because they are deliberately creating it. That's what they are doing.
I wanted to cover something here. JP is saying, I think government schools. No, not that one. Where is it now?
They are indoctrination.
People think you are a conspiracy theorist when you give them facts. I think they think it's science fiction. I just want to add something. Tell me if you disagree with me. You might disagree with me. I think for the longest time, since the 90s, dare I say, people have been promoting conspiracy theories. And it's the people whose minds are open to conspiracy theories that have been skeptical enough to question the government. So when you come with criticizing the government, people will automatically call you a conspiracy theorist because most people have been interweaving truth or conspiracy all this time. The problem is, even to this day, someone will promote OM and in the same breath talk conspiracy theory. And that has done so much brand damage because I am not a conspiracy theorist. I want facts. Conspiracy theory. I want to see something firsthand. Maybe I'll consider something secondhand. Other than that, I don't believe it. It's just information which I'll keep in the back of our mind for reference purposes. But people will literally say, do you know XYZ? And they don't know. They haven't seen it for themselves.
They'll even say things that we said as if it's their information without them verifying it themselves. And when people question them, they'll say, but they said, or Lawrence said. Don't do that.
And you know what? It's often your language that's the problem. You'll say, did you know the earth is flat? I'll use your favorites. Instead of saying,
don't go there.
I heard that. Someone said that. You are saying it like you believe it's 100% fact. Instead of approaching it from an open-minded perspective, which is why most of you, not I'm saying necessarily you, but so many people are being branded crazy.
Yeah.
Because people are walking around unclaimed, no evidence, no data, and saying this is a fact. And someone said something earlier about Jasara and Asara, and I haven't heard those words in
a long time, because we've
forever.
buried and annihilated that a long time
Where is
ago.
it now? I can't find it. But someone was asking what
You
do
know,
what do we think
I
of it?
spoke a long time ago about that Lighty. It was a drug addict that came up with all these ideas, made one video that got millions of views, and just took a whole lot of conspiracy theorists, which I hate. I hate conspiracy theories, okay, with him into this abyss, this rabbit hole. And by doing that, sidetracked him completely, because he has achieved nothing. All the followers of that nonsense achieved nothing, cannot achieve anything, because it was a complete and utter subversion and diversion. And there's many others like that. You know, when I see something happening that seems good, I try and think 2 and 3 layers deeper. And the moment you do that, especially when you come from an intelligence background, things look completely differently. When you see things or understand things from a level 5 perspective, everything changes completely. And life becomes a lot simpler, because you can see things plainly for what they are. Most people struggle with it. Most people struggle to see things at a level 4 understanding. Most people cannot even gather the basic information or knowledge to understand things at level 4. Most people are trapped in the rabbit hole. A lot of people aren't even in it.
Absolutely. JP was saying, what does one do if you can't afford an alternative? I think government school is indoctrination. What do you do if you can't afford alternatives? I just need to say a disclaimer here. Private schooling is also indoctrination, just with perks.
Yeah.
So, okay, fine, indoctrinate to school, but they have free ballet and free golf. Yay. It's still indoctrination. I often wonder, what would I do if the government forced my kids into school for whatever reason? And I've always taught them since little, just because someone's an authority figure does not mean they know everything. Even your parents don't know everything. And
we teach our kids to question even us.
And they do.
Yep.
And that's the important thing. Don't force your children to obey authority. That's disgusting. I despise that mentality. And we have respectful kids, but they ask questions, meaningful questions, and they voice their opinions and their ideas. Even if I think some of their ideas are crazy and far out, they still have the freedom to voice them. And they don't have to treat us like a ma and a pa that they have to bow down to. We treat them as adults on this earthly journey, and we give them guidelines on how to overcome the obstacles based on our experiences, because we happen to be older than them. So just evening the playing field.
We still instill discipline, and they understand that balance, and it's a very important balance.
Yeah. So getting rid of that authority mindset in your children, I think, is the most important if they have to go to school. So they mustn't see teachers high and mighty, admire the teacher, etc. They must see a teacher as someone with a job that works for the government. And if you deconstruct that, I think kids are pretty smart, especially these days. They should have an idea about who actually holds the power in the world and where real intelligence and information comes from.
My main concern is that a lot of people don't care about being fit anymore, being healthy anymore, being strong, competing, and many other things. So I love athletics, and the reason why I love athletics is because you can compete against yourself. You can compete against the table with numbers. It gives you a distance or a time or a height, and you can equate that to anyone else out there in the world. That goes from 0 to 1,000, or from 0 to 1,400 internationally. And you can literally see where you fare against the rest of the world. And wanting to improve yourself at anything, whether it's rowing, running, art, whatever it is, you should want to become better at things. And in the society we live in now, becoming better at something is improving an algorithm. And that is deeply concerning.
Susan just said something. I think it's important to deconstruct this. Latest scientific is a joke. It's funny. Okay. I know the time, I'm aware. Latest scientific evidence is that if the conspiracy theories continue coming true, we will run out of them by 2025. It's funny, ha ha. But it's actually not true. That statement is not true at all, because conspiracy theories are not coming true, in my opinion, when it comes to some of the extreme ones I've heard.
There's many conspiracy theories that are absolute rubbish. I mean, many of them.
So let's caution
Like
ourselves.
the earth is flat.
This is something I'm also really trying to teach my children, to not just look at confirmation bias, look for information that makes you feel good on the inside and use that as evidence to prove your theories. The misinformation being spread by mainstream media is as bad as the misinformation being spread by conspiracy theorists. Both are as bad as each other.
I think it's worse.
Which one?
I actually
Which one, mainstream or conspiracy?
No, conspiracy, because the mainstream can use that against us, and they have funding. So I actually spoke to someone who was quite involved. I don't know if he's watching the stream now, all the way from New Zealand, in trying to assist in Julian Assange being released. Okay, to be back with his family. He needs to go to a court case now, and then he would have served his sentence already. So he's actually free. But the first thing I asked him, easy free. And the next thing I asked or mentioned is the fact that, and this comes from an intelligence level of thinking, just one level higher or two levels higher. Okay, this person created WikiLeaks. Do you know how many billions of rands have been spent to circumnavigate the information that have been put on WikiLeaks? It's become exponentially more difficult for us to put information out there without it being monitored, tracked and traced, attacked, removed, etc. Because of WikiLeaks. So I asked myself, was it a net positive? Who actually benefited from it? How many people actually read it or cared to read it? Did it make any difference to what is still happening, having that info available? So if you don't look at a positive outcome, then all you did is you served sensation for the few people that saw something as sensational. Because for the rest, they actually don't care. It doesn't matter. So you have to ask yourself, did we have a net positive result with WikiLeaks or not? And at the end of the day, to me, it's a very simple, easy calculation that things are exponentially more difficult now because of that. And this is where you spoke of Michael Lewis attempting the Concorde, that it was going to make things much worse. And you were 100% correct. It made things much worse, exponentially more complicated.
At first I thought he had ill intent and this is the outcome he wanted, but upon further thoughts and
it's just
knowledge, I actually came to the conclusion, no, he actually did want to change the system for the better of the people. You can't trust the legal system, people. Susan says, conspiracy theories, it was supposed to be the joke. Susan, I highly understand it was supposed to be a joke. It's that very joke, the fact that it's funny, is what fuels conspiracy theories further, which fuels the whole problem. I'd actually love to maybe one day do a workshop live stream just on this.
Yeah.
On
we did touch on it in our workshops.
How we echo chamber ourselves into reinforcing our realities. We did touch on it, but I think we can expand on it further.
Echo chambers, I think, is a workshop we can do on it.
Okay, so one thing I wanted to mention on thumbnail topic, on video title topic, before we have to close, because we're starting our next thing at 8:00, is so elections was fun. I love election time, people. I love politics. I love electioning and campaigning and all of that. And
it's a flaw.
I know it's a flaw, but what I want to say is, despite all of that and everything that happened, I am very despondent about how the average voter thinks. And many of the questions that came our way from non-owned members about their priorities when it comes to voting, I am tragically disappointed in the human population with how they prioritize issues. Anyway, so it's why OM is not a majority right now, because of how people think. And so many people suggested, and this is what I want to tie in, because we're talking about those that are disadvantaged and poor, suggested that only taxpayers should be allowed to vote. And I think that is absolutely elitist, supremacist, and appalling, disgusting, and immoral. And I hope no one on this channel believes that, because then you're not on the right channel, at least not for the right reasons. And I just think it's absolutely a tragedy that the middle class, I suppose, that we identified as the problem earlier in this live stream, in reinforcing the system and perpetuating the status quo, want to do what's been done to them in exerting elitism upon those that are more disadvantaged than themselves. And it's inhumane. It's the opposite of humanity. It's everything that we are fighting against. That concept that only those that are tax-paying citizens or those that own property, that's another suggestion, only those that own property should vote, because that's how it was in the old days. I think that's terrible, because at the heart of being human, you are born within a country. You have zero control over where you are born. So you hope you're not born into a dictatorship. And as such, just as an existing being, we're a human being, we're not human doings. Every person has a right to be represented at a government level. And it shouldn't be reliant on your economic participation or your success in the financial system, which requires you to sell your soul to actually be good in financial pursuits. What do you think? Do you disagree with me?
No, I don't disagree with you. I think of what Eli said in JP. Eli, it's so important that we do try and train people to think a certain way, but they need to learn to do that themselves. So the methods that Laura and I use in our workshops is methods that people apply themselves. In other words, we're not going to spoon feed you in how to do something, because that's wrong. We give you tools that you can use in your way for whatever situation, and you can choose to use the tools or not use the tools. So I really would advise people to do the 14 workshops. It's going to change your life. It's going to make a difference. It's made a difference in my life. It's made a difference in Lauren's life. You can almost get out of any situation, improve yourself by using that. And then when you add the Omega training to that, I don't know what we're going to call it in future, how we're going to roll it out further, because we want to actually do it faster.
Far away faster.
And that is in progress right now. To us, in that training, we get to the nitty-gritty of being a super citizen. And the first 5 modules takes care of that. After that, it gets more specialized. And there we need to really be sure who we have around. And Laura and I, we don't want to waste our precious time. I mean, it's time away from our kids that we have to spend training people. So we want to get as many other people as possible to do the training. It's for your own advantage. And once we've done the actual presentations and the recordings are there, people can do the work themselves, the homework.
So 125 will be available for the next intake very quickly.
Very soon.
Around the corner.
Yeah.
In this year, like in the next month.
Yeah. Very soon.
If everything goes according to my plans. Yeah. Because I also can't do OM and Omega and everything else. I'm a busy mom of 4. So I really need to streamline everything, simplify everything. I had something I want to do. Someone said, I know. Everyone pays tax through fuel, VAT, exercise. So a lot of people that have said to me, but only people who pay tax should vote. They mean people,
nice one, Lawrence.
They mean people with a tax number, so it gets more elitist.
Yeah, pay as you
so
earn,
anyone operating below the poverty line, anyone that's on minimum wage, anyone that's relying on the informal sector. Completely written out of the political system.
We shouldn't even give it airtime.
Which is absolutely
Lawrence,
disgusting.
absolutely, everyone has to pay tax. So everyone pays tax. I have a problem with someone that's been incarcerated having the right to vote. That's me personally. But people can debate that.
I actually tend to agree with that, because if you have been incarcerated, it means you've taken away people's rights. Which means that you should have
should lose the right,
that right
taken away.
But then when you're out of jail, then you have the right to vote.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So I don't know.
That's how I feel about it.
What do you think? What do you think, public?
I mean, that's not
voters.
Remember, OM hasn't got policy. OM has got values and principles. So one would have to test it against the values and principles to see where that measures are.
That has nothing to do with OM. That's just thinking about the current system currently.
Yeah. So being despondent is not an option. We have to carry on with the work. The work doesn't stop. In fact, the way I look at it, I look at math, okay? And I'm growing by 67% under the circumstances. with no mainstream media attention whatsoever is incredible. And I must still go and do all of the numbers for the other
Please
provinces.
do, yes.
It's not my job, but I want to get time to do it, and I haven't had
This
time.
fired
I have to
member.
sit down for. I wasn't fired.
No.
It was worse. I was banished. So
This banished
I
member.
have to sit for literally 3 hours
You don't
per
have
province.
to.
I mean, it's not
You
nothing.
don't have to do that.
But it's
thank
interesting.
you.
I love stats.
You
so,
do love stats,
yes,
and you love me, so it's a
I
perfect,
do.
perfect activity
Yes,
for you.
exactly.
So, what did I want to say? Oh, we actually grew by more than 67% if you consider the missing votes out there, but we can't
Yeah,
count
we're
them.
not talking about
We can't count
that.
them actually.
But I really feel horrible for the people whose votes weren't counted. It's definitely more than 100, just based on the
emails and everything, and messages
that
and all the
I've
rest.
received myself. I don't know what you received. It's horrible. The thing is, once you go and fight that in the system, it just doesn't work because the system is already set up against you.
I don't want to put legal fees towards that. Thank you.
No. It's a complete
We've already
waste.
wasted enough money.
Yeah,
on
let
posters.
the other parties do that. That's fine.
Yeah. Okay, we really have to prepare for our next thing.
Yeah, so at 8 o'clock we start our interactive. It's a Zoom link that goes out to our interactive meeting members and our WOD's meeting and workshop members also joining. So because the highest level has all the other levels advantages at the disposal. So it's all there.
Yeah.
So I would advise you, if you can, to go and do all the workshops, all 14 workshops. It'll make a huge difference. For those of you that have done them, tell us how it's helped you, how it's influenced your life. Give us feedback. And Lauren's busy with all sorts of plans to improve how we roll out the training.
It's a little time consuming.
The training's for free.
Once
it doesn't cost a cent. So we want every South African to do at least the first 5 levels.
Yes.
Definitely.
Fast. As many people as fast as possible.
We don't have time to waste anymore.
No.
Okay, please like this video. We have 104 likes. If we can get more likes so we can get more people to watch it, it'll be awesome. Let's see quickly how many people have actually
Then we'll see
watched.
some of you in 10 minutes.
Yes, very, very soon. So, very few people tonight. There are 488 people that have joined us. But thanks for joining us. And it's that voting. Just putting voting there in the thumbnail. I told Lauren it's a big mistake.
Yeah. So anything to do with children or voting or even AI.
No one is interested.
Even
in
AI.
Yeah, nobody's
even
interested.
smart cities.
Yeah,
why don't I talk about
interested.
smart cities more? Because when we've made it a thumbnail or a heading, people are not interested
whatsoever.
It's very funny. No net gejoin.
Ja, maar Pierre, maar kyk maar die recording, hoor. But thanks everyone for watching, and please like, share it with as many people as possible. And thanks for sticking out with us. Now we're going to do our interactive. So
I'm going to literally swallow supper whole now.
Shame.
And then we'll see you soon.
Yeah, that's our life.
Bye. Good night.